Welcome everybody to Forza Horizon 5, and today we're taking a look at the 2009 Pagani Zonda Cinque Roadster. Now this is introduced in 2009. Cinque means 5 in Italian, which is exactly how many of these were made, as well as 5 of the hardtop version. And yeah, this is a road legal version of the Zonda R, which is a track only high performance vehicle. And yeah, to keep the weight down in this car, it uses carbo titanium bodywork and magnesium and titanium suspension components. And yeah, it's a very impressive looking thing. It's also got a lot of aerodynamic tweaks. It's got an extended front spoiler. It's got a massive rear wing. It's got a rear diffuser, and it's even got a air intake for the engine there above the driver and passenger. And yeah, overall, a pretty good looking car. I've never been the massive fan of the Zonda, but I think this version looks pretty good. And you strip it away and you can see how little there is in terms of, general bodywork. It's a very stripped back car. You've got a very limited amount of boot space. You've got these 2 saddles either side that are basically like something you'd find on a bike or something, I suppose. But yeah, it's very stripped back. Very little in the way of weight. Only weighs 2,866 pounds, which is 2,858 pounds, which is very little for what is obviously a convertible. Usually convertibles weigh a hell of a lot more than that, especially in comparison to their hardtop variants. But yeah, because this is a built out of carbon fibre and titanium and the like, it's all kept very little in the way of weight. And yeah, mad interior as per usual when it comes to Pagani. But yeah, got manual gearbox. You've got all of the stuff you could generally need in a car like this. I think it's a manual anyway, or maybe it's a that's a semi-automatic part. And there's paddles on the rear on the steering wheel there. I forgot about that. But regardless, yeah, what is the main piece about this car though is the engine, which is a 7.3 litre V12 engine, naturally aspirated, which produces 678 horsepower and 575 pounds-feet of torque. And as you can see, it's from AMG, more specifically Mercedes. So yeah, that's a lot of horsepower. Even by nowadays standards, that's a lot. But yeah, for 2009, that is easily one of the most powerful cars in production at that time. So yeah, and this was supposed to be the last of the Zondas, but in typical Pagani style, they ended up keep making it even long after this, although in smaller and smaller numbers with more and more specialised versions. But yeah, nonetheless, let's get onto the open road and see what this car can do. So yeah, for the first time in a Forza game, we're able to drive this around in its convertible mode, which you can switch on the fly when stood still. But yeah, nonetheless, let's get it down this drag strip and see how quick it can go. It can go before it hits the speed camera, and then we'll hoon it around the track. So yeah, rear wheel drive, high revving V12, not much in the way of weight, and yeah, even by today's standards, this is still a quick car, no doubt about that. And there is nearly 165 miles an hour, which is pretty incredible for a 13-year-old car, and that just shows how advanced this car was for the time, with its lightweight bodywork, its lightweight suspension, its hugely powerful V12 engine, which is naturally aspirated, so it's really one of a free revving. It's got no turbo lag or anything like that to deal with. And yeah, the gearbox on this was sped up as well, not by much, by 100 milliseconds, but that can make a big difference when you're switching gears several times in a row. So yeah, lightning fast gears. So yeah, let's take a look at the stats before we head out onto the track. So yeah, we're high S1 class, and yeah, there's the stats, which are pretty formidable. Handling and braking are great. The launch is decent, although it could be better, but then again, it is a rear-wheel drive car with nearly 700 horsepower. Top speed is good. Acceleration could be better, but as you saw when it was going up along that drag strip, it was hardly a slow car, so that stat is a little bit misguided, to be honest, or not particularly representative of what it can actually do. I guess as somewhat, you know, comparing it to other similar cars from the period, maybe ones with all-wheel drive that can get off that line a bit quicker and have that acceleration. But yeah, nonetheless, let's get it around this track, and yeah, we'll listen to it first, and then we'll talk about it some more. So yeah, this sounds absolutely amazing, really, and yeah, even though it's only got rear-wheel drive and it does like to step out every now and again, it doesn't feel like it's gonna kill you, basically. It will start to slide, but it's easy to hold that slide, it's easy to get it back into shape, and yeah, it just flies out of corners, into corners, brakes really well because it's got great brakes, but also it's got very little in the way of weight for it to actually slow down. So yeah, this is fantastic, and this is the convertible version, so yeah, the hardtop would be even better because it's going to have a bit more rigidity and a bit less in the way of weight. But yeah, this is still a glorious car, and with it being a convertible, you can hear that engine all the more, which, as I said, is a great sounding engine that revs really nicely. And yeah, acceleration is pretty damn good for a car of 13 years old. 0 to 60 in 3.265 seconds, 0 to 100 in 6.484 seconds, and it'll go into a top speed of 205 miles an hour, which is, yeah, pretty good for a convertible like this. So yeah, an overall fantastic car. I do wish we had more variants of the Zonda, because there's plenty of them. There's dozens of the things, in fact. Obviously not all of them had big production numbers, but you know, I'd still like to see what they're made of, especially since there are some differences between them in terms of power or the way they handle, or just even the way they look. So yeah, but still a fantastic car, and you can see why Pagani were pretty much keeping this going for so long, and why they were hesitant to replace it with the Wyra, which is a great car and all, but I definitely prefer the more visceral, you know, experience that this generates with its, you know, really rather tricky handling at times, but at the end of the day you can feel like it's going to come back, and most of the time it does. And then you've also got the free revving engine, and you know, the insane amount of power, the fact it weighs very little. So yeah, fantastic car. Easily one of my favourite, you know, hypercars from the you know, the age when they were still, you know, becoming more notorious. Obviously Zonda, sorry, I keep calling them Zonda. Obviously Pagani was still quite new to this. You had only been around about 10 years at this point, whereas obviously Ferrari and, you know, McLaren and the like had been around a lot longer than that. But still, great car, great piece of engineering, and yeah, well worth trying out if you can afford it. Nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.